Family Reunion, Part 2 of 3. There, entering the room, he was. The monster who had molested Birdie for 5 long years. She was only 8 years old. The man who had taken so much from her, who had shattered her spirit and violated her body in ways that no child should ever endure. Birdie froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She had spent years trying to forget his face, to push the memories of his abuse so far down that they couldn't hurt her anymore. But seeing him now, standing so casually among the people who were supposed to be her family, brought every unwanted sound, scent, and touch rushing back to the surface. She felt the floor drop out from beneath her. Her body shook with a mixture of fear, anger, and disbelief. The man who had stolen her childhood stood there, laughing and chatting with her relatives as though nothing had ever happened. He was embraced by the family that had once failed to protect her. The family that had never held him accountable for the years of abuse she had endured. The shock quickly gave way to agony. Birdie's heart pounded in her chest as she stood there, rooted to the spot, her mind racing. How could they be so blind? How could they welcome him, while she stood on the edge of the room feeling like an intruder in her own family? How could they still not see, all these years later, the pain that had been inflicted upon her? It was as if the betrayal of her childhood was being repeated in real time, the same silence and suppression she had faced as a child now echoing in the present. The relatives who had expected her to suppress her pain as a child were now frowning upon her once again. Birdie could see it in their eyes, the subtle glances they exchanged as they noticed her standing there, trembling in shock. They frowned at her for not pretending, for refusing to put on the same mask of composure that had been demanded of her for so long. Birdie could almost hear their words. Why can't you just get over it? Why can't you just move on? Haven't you gotten over that by now? Why do you have to still be so selfish? You've always been difficult. But how could she? How could she pretend that the sight of her abuser didn't rip open old wounds that had never truly healed? How could she pretend that she wasn't in agony? Birdie's heart was breaking all over again as she watched her family embrace the man who had destroyed so much of her childhood and adulthood. Please go to Part 3 for more.